another thing that really struck my mind was a book which is called Born to Run. Anybody has heard about that book? It's written by Christopher McDougall. Does anyone here do jogging? Running a bit? Read that book. It's amazing. But essentially, it's a book about an adventure. It's a guy who invites the best runners from the world. You know, some of the best long-distance runners are, and he invites them in Mexico, in the Copper Canyons, where there is a tribe called the Tarahumaras that is living. And this tribe has a habit to run, and they run long distances. They can run 1, 2 marathons and more at a time. And it's the children run, the women run, everybody runs into this society. These are the running people. And so he brought these guys and he organized a race with some of the best athletes in the world, and that's the book. I'm not going to get into the details, but there is a guy who was the most famous, and he's still probably the most famous long-distance runner these days. His name is Scott Jurek, and I read about that guy, and he's an amazing figure, but he's also a vegan athlete, and so that really triggered my attention, because it's that you have these athletes. You can be an athlete and a vegan athlete, and actually there is a growing number of vegan athletes. So it's basically to demystify that idea that vegans are weak and they are full of deficiencies and all these kind of things. You can be vegan, you can thrive, and you can be a super athlete. And this thing about this reading was triggered me, from my perspective, something that is really important, and I'm sure some of you do sport, but competitive sports, some. But the idea is, if you do sports, you see food as a fuel. Not as a gourmet meal. You see, not as a high-end restaurant. Ding ding ding. No, you look at food as a fuel. You see, and think about your car. You see, if you put the wrong fuel in your car, you're in real trouble. You see. Same thing for us. We need to put the right fuel in our bodies. And essentially, if we put the right fuel in our bodies, what do we get? We get, to have energy, to perform well in school, in sports, and we don't hamper our potential, essentially, and we can, avoid sicknesses. And that is really, from my perspective, the thing that brings us to the next paradigm. You see, the next, it's healthy longevity.